Sure. Okay. Well, we can talk about so China, for instance. I mean, the reason why China has such a big population today, and we think that, wow, it's one country, how's it going, 500 million people or whatever. But throughout Chinese history, I mean, there are 56 dialects which each get spoken in China, and China actually used to be a whole lot of different countries, and it's often more helpful to think of it in terms of as almost like a Europe, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
And so when Mao was coming up and the Communist Party was coming up, they said, we have 1 billion people. We don't need everybody else, and we have all these different sections of China.
Yeah.
And if we are one country united, that's basically like having a whole lot of Europe to use. And so the isolation thing, I don't know. I think it's potentially true, right? There's definitely if there's a whole lot of countries that don't want to trade with you because they think you're evil, that's going to hurt your economy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is it like the number one driving factor behind the economy?
Oh no, there's a number of different things, and I'm not by any means one of those conspiracy leftists who definitely think that everything is caused by the CIA and some other reasons.
We don't like the CIA very much on this channel.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll get shouted by some side that I'm a CIA agent and the other side that I'm communist. It will be fun. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, are you?
It's just another Tuesday. It's fun.
Just to clarify.
They will never know. No, definitely it's not the only aspect of it. However, and in China, you're right, that was definitely part of Mao. In fact, his whole essentially staple of his government was this idea of the one China policy. We are just one people and we don't need anyone else. And that has been honestly part of the identity of China since its inception. Nonetheless, for example, that was not the perception that the Soviet Union had. In fact, their active intent throughout the whole position was not only expanding their spheres of influence, that still remain to this day, but also there is a line of thought within these forms of government in the left, that the only way that they can thrive and be able to put these policies through is by creating an alternative to the dominance of capitalism. There's also a line of thought of let's overthrow it and destroy it. I'm not necessarily subscribe to it, but I do agree to an extent that if this sense of socialism that they try to implement, that huge communist control of the government, can only work if there is at least a group of countries in the world that have influence, that have power, that are willing to still recognize you as a nation, and are willing to still trade with you and have a mutual agreement. So, for example, you can see that the new Russian Federation under Putin has changed considerably, but they still, to an extent, consider themselves to be left communist countries, and they still follow a lot of their predecessors' policies. Nonetheless, Russia is considered to be a rather big economy right now, because after the collapse of the World War and the Cold War and the shift in policies that has happened, their relation with the rest of the world, mainly Europe, mainly the United States, mainly China, has considerably increased and gotten better. With a lot of its hiccups, and by no means it's anyone's but Russia's fault. Nonetheless, you can see that those policies that they tried to implement years and years ago, back then, that didn't work somehow now, because they have that acceptance. And you can see that comparison, for example, with countries that don't have it, like Cuba.